Hello, welcome back. It's Fred in the shed, or in this case in the kitchen, and going to start getting ready now for the 40 years CB night. This is going to be a really big night this year on Channel 40 on FM UK CB. They do it every year. It's been going a few years now. I think Del Boy may have started it, but he certainly promotes it, so well done, Del. You're doing really well there. When I first came back onto radio in 2014, this was the first night when I went on CB, and it was like old CB. There were lots of people calling out on the channel, lots of contacts were made, lots of new friends were made on CB. It's a really special night in the UK, and some people that don't normally come on air all come together on this one night. On this night, we try and use CB radios. I've used the Murphy before. It's nice if you can use radios from the day, but I haven't really got any old radios. I don't really collect them like a lot of people, and they've become rather expensive as well if you do collect them. So what I want to do is I'm going to use the President here, the Truman, the little Truman, which is a CB radio, of course. It's not a HF radio like I normally use. Now then, this radio has been really good in the shack, but I have had a few audio reports that suggest that the audio is quite low, and it's pretty typical of President radios. The Grant can suffer from this. I know the McKinley, a great little radio, can suffer from it. I was speaking to Steph on the 305 group, and he's gone inside his radio and he's turned up the audio. I think it's called the deviation, but he's turned that up. Now then, I'm not someone that likes to really muck about inside radios. I might in the future venture inside this radio and try and turn up the audio. Del Boy sent me a video link, and someone else did as well in the comments, and I appreciate that. I do read the comments. But at the moment, I want to use this radio on Tuesday night, and I don't really want to muck about with it too much. If you do decide to go inside the radios and have a little twiddle, I'd suggest that if you adjust any of the little adjustment screws, or the little pots as we call them, get yourself a permanent marker, fine tipped black felt tip pen, and just put a couple of little marks on where the screw is already set, because it's very easy to overdo things and you end up with a completely bricked radio. But you really do need the proper equipment if you're going to start mucking about with adjusting the internals and settings of the radio. I haven't got that equipment, and that's why I tend to stay away from it. So the radio is working, it's just that the audio is a little bit quiet. What I thought I'd do, or certainly try today, is I do have a couple of power mics, which I don't currently use. I have this Pama power mic, which I bought quite a long time ago. To be honest with you, I've not had great reports from this microphone when I used it. I used it on the Grant 2. So the wiring, ironically, is probably the same as the President, so I could just plug that in. But as I say, didn't have particularly good reports on that microphone. I might just try it again before I sacrifice the plug, because my favourite power microphone is the KPO 532, and this microphone I think is a very good microphone. They're very powerful. So the idea is I will put a power microphone on the President Truman just to increase the audio, see if that helps. The only problem is whereas this Pama microphone has the appropriate 6-pin plug, the KPO is wired to a 4-pin. So if I decide to use the KPO, I'm going to have to rewire the plug. And I thought I had a 6-pin, but I can't find it. I can only find a spare 4-pin, which means I might just have to sacrifice this one, or possibly another microphone. What I do have though is the wiring diagram. You can get this online if you haven't got it. Now what I'll say to people, new people coming back that maybe in the day didn't muck about with soldering irons, yes, you can change the microphone plug on your radio quite easily. Just be aware, such as the President here, because it's a 6-pin, on this radio, it's pin number 6, the centre pin, is a live pin. And what I mean by that is it actually has a power supply live, 13.2 volts, coming from the radio through the centre pin. Maybe if you're going to use, I don't know, maybe a President microphone, it might draw its power from the radio. I know sometimes some channel up and down switches, they require power. So you just have to be careful that you check the wiring before you go ahead and rewire a plug, because if you wire into the live feed, the hot wire, if you like, coming out of the radio, when you key up, there's a chance if you short it, you'll damage the radio. So you just have to be a little bit aware of that. So that's my situation. I think I'll try the wiring on the Pama. As I say, it's wired to the President. President Grant. It should be the same as Truman. So I might give that a go and see how it works. But I think I really want to stick with a 532 because I know this one works. But that's what I'm going to do in this video. I'm going to be using a dummy load to do my audio tests. It's not brilliant. It's not the right way of doing it. But as I haven't really got the correct equipment, you can rely on people on your local radio to give you audio reports, but it helps if you're speaking to people that have spoken to you for quite some time on the radio, because otherwise you get conflicting audio reports. Some people might say you're a little bit quiet, some people might say you're a little bit bassy, and so on and so forth. What you don't want to do, the worst thing you can do is overmodulate, is to increase your audio to such a degree you're distorting the power output on the radio. If you've got There's nothing worse than someone having distorted audio. So it's better to be under than over. But I'm going to be, for my test, which is very Heath Robinson, it's Fred in the Shed as always, I'm going to be using this dummy load here to power from the radio. Gary sent me this a long time ago. Gary was a very, very helpful person to me when I first started the YouTube channel years ago. Gary sent me a lot of things to try and play with. He was a great bloke. I don't know if he watches anymore. He doesn't comment anymore. So thanks to Gary, and also Sean as well. Good old Sean, bless him. He used to send me some things as well because I was struggling when I first started. But cheers to Gary and Sean. Right, going to get on with it. And let's see what happens. Right, got ourselves set up. Using my little power supply here in the little toolbox. I still get queries about this on the YouTube channel. I find these tiny little LED power supplies, they've been absolutely fine with me. And yes, I do need to put air ventilation holes in this. People do comment on that. I know it hasn't overheated, but I don't use it very often, and I don't use it for long periods of time. Yeah, them little LED power supplies, you do use them at a risk. They can go open. Yeah, I find them absolutely fine. I've got two in the shack. I use one in here, and it's been absolutely fine. Use them at your own risk. Okay, so the first radio we're going to try, we're on UK40 on the dummy load there, and we're going to try just the standard President microphone. I'll do a little bit of audio, and then I'll listen to it upstairs in the shack on my Alinco. Not the best test, of course. Running into a dummy load might distort the audio. It just gives you an idea. Make sure that the microphone is working, and at least you can record the results and listen to them. So that's what we're going to do. So let's plug in the standard mic, and then I think I'll go on to the Pama mic because it's got the 6-pin plug and it's wired to the President Grant, which pretty much, I'm sure, no, I am sure, it's the same as the Truman, so it should work straight out of the box. But anyway, let's try the standard mic and just check the audio.
Audio 1 2 1 2 audio. Mary had a little lamb. Its fleece was white as snow. This is an audio check on the standard President microphone that comes with the radio, and I'm very close to the microphone, speaking across the grill from the top. Audio 1 2 1 2 audio 1 2 1 2 audio. Audio 1 2. This is the cheap China Pama generic power microphone. Speaking just a little way, about 4 inches from the microphone itself, and the power setting is on number 5, which is approximately half power. Never had a good report from this mic before, but never tried it on the Truman before. So audio 1 2 audio 1 2. Mary had a little lamb. Its fleece was white as snow. And the next check, I will increase the power to number 10, flat out on the mic. Audio 1 2, this is the Pama microphone. I'm now flat out, number 10. I've got the microphone about 6 to 7 inches from my mouth so it doesn't overload. And flat out now on the microphone. Audio 1 2 1 2. Mary had a little lamb. Audio on the Pama 1 2 1 2 1 2. Audio check.
Back in the kitchen, done the test and I've listened back to them. Any buzzing that you heard on the audio, that's purely because I'm running into a dummy load. To my ears, which aren't the best, but the standard microphone to me sounded louder and clearer than the Pama microphone. The Pama microphone sounded quiet even when at its full setting, which is what audio tests I've had before, and this is why it pays to do your own audio test if you've got two radios. So at the moment, I thought the actual standard mic sounded pretty clear, and to my ears, it was quite loud as well. So it might just be maybe over a distance that the audio drops off. Next one I want to try is the 532. The thing is, I've got to go and put a new plug on that, so I'm going to go off and solder a 5-pin plug. I've got the wiring diagram here. Yep, so we've got the wiring diagram, so we can find out the correct pins. And yeah, and I'll come back. The sun's coming out now, which is quite nice. And then we'll give the 532 a go. As I said before in other videos, I mean, it's not going to increase your power of your transmit signal. It's just, if you're going to spend a long time on the radio, and I'm probably going to be on the radio for 2 hours on the 40 net night, it's quite nice if you can relax and hold the microphone away from your mouth, maybe sort of in your lap if you like. It's just a more relaxed way of using the microphone and having to chew it for 2 hours with a non-powered mic. But we're going to give the 532 a go. But at the moment, I've got to say that President standard microphone to me sounded absolutely fine. So at least I know I've got one good mic. But anyway, back in a sec. That's the soldering done. If I've got it right, it's going to work. If I haven't got it right, well, I'll be back on the bench in a minute redoing it. But let's go give it a test. Right, well, I'm not going to get this right first time. We've plugged in the microphone. We have it keying up, but we have no receive. So I haven't got that wiring quite right yet. Right, I think I'm getting there. I think I've sussed it. So I've got the mic wired up, but obviously got no receive, no RX. Now, this microphone previously was wired to a 6900, and the blue wire had been cut short. Now, on a 6900, if I remember correctly, it doesn't need a microphone plugged in for you to receive audio. Some radios like this one obviously does need an RX feed. So that blue wire, that must be my RX feed. So I'm going to need to connect that. And if I've got the audio around the right way and the ground on the right way, which I think I have now, it should work. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to cut back some of the cable here. I was trying to avoid that, but obviously this radio needs an RX wire to work. So I should have spotted that in the beginning because I've got a wiring diagram, but no problem. Just need to do a quick bit of rewiring and I'll be there. There we go, we got there in the end. For future reference for myself, because I do occasionally come back on my own videos, on the KPO 532, the mesh is obviously the ground wire, the red wire is the audio wire, the white wire is the TX wire, and the blue one is the RX, and that's what threw me out, not having a blue. But just looking at this, I may have left these wires a little bit long, so I'm hoping they don't stick out on the back of the plug. But anyway, that should now work, and I can get on with the audio tests.
This is a test, an audio test of the KPO power microphone at about 1/3 power, talking approximately 5 to 6 inches away from my mouth. Mary had a little lamb. Its fleece was white as snow. Next test will be the KPO at 3/4 power. This is the KPO 532 now at 3/4 power on the slider control at about 5 inches from my mouth. Testing 1 2 1 2 1 2. Testing audio 1 2. And now final test of the KPO. This is about halfway on the slider, half power. Mary had a little lamb. 1 2 1 2 16 64 audio test 1 2.
Played the videos back, and yeah, once again, I think if I want to use a power mic, the KPO 532 sounded the best. Slide control wise, I think it was probably better at the halfway point, or even once again at 1/3 point. It sounded absolutely fine. It was fine and crisp. The Pama or Pama microphone, yeah, it's too quiet. I've never really got on with it. It is too quiet, and I've nicked the plug off the lead now, so not going to be using that at any time in the future. And a standard microphone, I thought it sounded alright actually. It's, as I say, it's just if I'm going to be on the radio for 2 hours, I'm going to have to be holding this mic very, very close to my mouth, whereas with the power microphone I can just have it on the bench, almost on my lap, and it will pick up my audio really well. So yeah, I'm really pleased. I'm set up now with radio. That's the microphone of choice, and just need to set it up in the little shed shack, and then Tuesday night I'm ready to go. Let me know in the comments what you think. You might disagree with me. You might think that maybe the standard microphone was the best one after all, but let me know. I'll be interested in your comments. But as for now, cheers, thanks for staying with the video. Please give me the thumbs up, that helps me, helps the channel get more videos out there. And yeah, stay safe. I'll catch you on the next one, and look out for the 40 years of CB video. It's going to be a fantastic night for CB in the UK. Can't wait. Cheers guys, catch you later.
Oh,